So you are looking to move to a foreign country, but you haven't quite figured out the path forward. Well, stay tuned because I'm going to share with you 4 ways some people move to foreign countries and their pitfalls and how to avoid those pitfalls. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're enjoying this content, please consider subscribing and clicking that notification bell. If you've already subscribed, thank you. I am so very close to 1,000 subscribers, and it's all thanks to you. I'm Patricia Brooks, and in 2018, I left Richmond, Virginia, for the south of France to find myself, and it's been an amazing experience. When I first came to France, the first couple of years, I came on a visitor visa that allowed me to travel and explore and live here for a year. I couldn't work. But that was fine because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I didn't know that when I first started thinking about ways to get to France. My first idea was that maybe I could volunteer on a workaway assignment. Now, workaway is a way where you can help out a family on their farm, or maybe somebody's renovating an old chateau and you can help them out there in exchange for room and board. And it's a way to save money when you're living in a foreign country. And saw this idea. I thought, wow, maybe that's what I should be doing. And I started exploring and researching, and I was so excited about it. I shared it with a friend, and my friend said to me, "Oh, Patricia, I don't think that's right for you. You know, I can't really see you living in somebody's attic and picking fruit from their trees. You like your privacy. You like to be able to come and go as you please." And I was hurt that she didn't like my idea. But when I thought about it, I thought, oh, she knows me better than I know myself. And so I moved on from that idea. Now, workaway is a way to experience a new country. And it's wonderful for some people. It was just not my way. The second thing that I considered very briefly was asking my current employer to allow me to work remotely in France. Now, this was not my idea. A former coworker who I had told I was looking into moving to France said, "Oh, well, you should ask management if they would allow you to do that." And when he suggested that, I could feel in the pit of my stomach this big old knot. I felt sick. And I immediately said, no, I don't really want to bring this thing that I'm not really that happy with to this country that I want to experience in a joyful way. And so I didn't even pursue that. It was just something that I shot down immediately. Now, that can be a perfect solution for somebody who enjoys the work they do if they feel they're being respected at their job, right? It can be a great solution. And so if you have an employer who's open-minded that way, by all means, ask the question, get the permission, and do it. But that wasn't what I wanted to experience. It was very much for the same reason I never wanted to work from home full time. I always wanted there to be that separation from work and home because I was really not that satisfied for the last part of my career. And I didn't want to bring that dissatisfaction to the place where I wanted to get away from that. So those are 2 ways. The reason I'm even doing this video is there was somebody who posted in a Facebook group that they had finally moved to their dream country. And they'd been there for a year, and it's not at all what they wanted to experience. And that was because they were doing a certain kind of work in their old country. They landed this great job in their new country, and then they were doing that job in that new country. But lo and behold, the job that they were doing was a grind in their own country, their old country, and now it's a grind in their new country, and it's impacting the way they are experiencing life there. And they're not very happy. And now they're searching for ways to be able to stay there, but in a different way, right? So how can you avoid this? If you are considering moving abroad using a certain means, a certain path, you want to check in with how that path makes you feel. When you see yourself living in your new country and doing this thing that you will have to do if that's the way that you're going, does it light you up? Does it inspire you? Does it make you feel happy and satisfied and fulfilled? Or does it make you feel unhappy or restricted or constricted or stuck? Right? Those are two opposite ends of a spectrum, and how you feel about what you will be doing in order to stay in that country matters. And so check in with that. And if it's the lower end of that scale, that lower energy feelings, toss it and move on. Consider other things. Think outside the box. You might be saying, yeah, Patricia, this is the only thing I know how to do. I don't really enjoy it, but I think maybe I could find a job in a foreign country doing this thing. Well, I would challenge you to think again, to think outside the box. And if you need help doing that, definitely schedule time with me. I'll put a link to my calendar in the description so that you can kind of move through some of those ideas and get to something that is more suitable for you. Okay. So what are your thoughts so far on what I've shared? Does it ring true? Do you feel like you've considered some things that aren't right for you and you're still looking? Let me know in the comments. All right. So another thing I considered, and this was after I was already in France for almost a year, was becoming a student. Now, I was at the end of my first year and I needed to renew my visa. And my French friend suggested that I apply for a student visa because that had some perks that my current visa didn't have. And so I considered it briefly. I looked into what it would take. And as I thought about, my life in France then, having the freedom to explore and come and go as I please, not having to study, not having to go to class, and then thinking about going to class and studying and taking exams, I thought, that feels like a really hard way for me to be in France. And so I shot that idea down and didn't pursue it. But that's a very good way for some people to live in France. They can learn something new, they can earn a degree, they can have some other benefits. However, that wasn't my way. I have a friend who's been living in France for almost 2 years now. And the first year she lived in France, she came over on a student visa to study French. And the good news is that her French is really good because of that year. But she realized early on that she felt like she was constricted. She wasn't able to travel as much as she wanted to. She was using her savings and she wanted to be able to work and earn more money. And so she realized that she wanted to come back to France on a different kind of visa. And so she did her research and decided that Profession Liberale visa, which is the visa I'm on now, would allow her to start a business, do freelance work, earn money, explore, travel, have the freedom, and experience France the way she wanted to. And so that's what she's doing now, and she's so much happier. And the final way that some people move abroad is by getting married. Now, if you are in love with somebody and they're in a foreign country and you want to move there and live there, go for it. But if you're considering finding somebody to marry as a means to an end, as a means to be able to get into the country, I just caution this way. I took a civics class, a French civics class here. I had to take 4 all-day sessions to learn how to be a good resident of France. And in that class, there were about 15 of us. Half the class were Afghanistan men, and the other half were women who were from different countries. And the thing that I found remarkable was that the women who were in that program, I was the only woman who had not come to France on a spousal visa. And I thought, okay, that's unusual. And one day I went to lunch with one of the women and who had recently had a baby with her French husband. And she was sharing what her life was like in France. And she didn't seem like she was happy. She didn't seem like she was happily married. And I thought to myself, I don't know the reason why she married a French person. I don't know if it was for love or it was because she wanted to be in France. But I just knew that being in an unhappy marriage and being in a country where you can be there because of your connection with somebody else didn't feel like it was a happy situation. And so that's just the story. Again, as I say, if you've fallen in love with somebody and that's the path you want to take, go for it, but go for it with your eyes wide open. All right. So what are your thoughts about everything I've shared? What have you considered in terms of a plan forward? I know I haven't covered all of the options, and you may have something that's interesting and unique and creative that others might like to hear. So feel free to comment below. Now, as I said, if you are seriously considering a move abroad and feel a little bit stuck on the how, let's have a conversation. I'm going to put a link to my calendar in the description so we can talk, brainstorm, find a path forward for you so that you can live your life in your dream country. That is all I have for you today. If you found this video enjoyable, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.